The suspect accused of driving a rental van into pedestrians on a busy Toronto street is going to appear in court today. He killed 10 people, 15 were injured. Joining us now are two people who witnessed the carnage, Diego DeMatos and Christian Ali. Gentlemen, sorry to meet you this way, but thank you very much for helping us understand this situation better.
Morning, Chris. Welcome.
Morning, Chris.
Diego, let's start with you. You witnessed the van actually hitting people on your way to the gym. What did you see? What did you make of it?
Well, it was just a regular Monday afternoon. It was a beautiful day. So we're going to the gym and slowly looking for a parking spot. I look over and I see this van coming down really fast. And all of a sudden it hits two people across the street. I was going north and the van was coming south. So it hits two people. It was so fast, it threw one of the ladies all the way back into the building and then one of the guys forward into the pavement. And then just kept driving off. And then at first I thought it was a hit and run. I had a friend in the car with me and they said, oh my gosh, that guy just hit two people, and kept driving. And then I think he must have hit a car or a pole. I don't know what he hit, and then went back on the sidewalk and stopped. And then people start screaming, it was that truck, it was that truck, it was that truck. And people start panicking at this point because there was blood gushing out of the guy's head. And the lady was bleeding really bad as well. And then I slowly kept driving because there was a lot of car behind me. And as I drive a few meters up north, there's about maybe 4 or 5 bodies again on the floor and people screaming, crying, and looking panicked. There's broken bus shelter, garbage cans, everything on the pavement in the middle of the street. And I keep driving a little bit more, and then I see all this panic and this guy asking for help. And then I pull my car over to the side and run over to him in the middle of the street and try to help him by doing CPR on this guy. And but he was dead. So he basically just passed away in our arms. Sorry, I get emotional just seeing his face again in front of me. So we waited for the police and the paramedics and firefighters. Everybody came. We backed off a little bit and waited to speak with them. And as we were waiting, a lot more police started to show up, and then they started removing everybody from the scene. It was like a movie scene. It was like a war zone. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, what was happening in Toronto. So we waited a little bit longer, and then after that, we got back in the car and we started driving again. And as we're driving slowly up, we see more dead bodies on the floor and people that just in pure panic and crying and screaming and calling 911. And this all happened in maybe 9 blocks. I don't know how far it was, but it was a long stretch of road. And it just seemed like he was going on and off onto the sidewalk, on and off, on and off, on and off. And I tried to help the guy, but it was a little bit too late.
Well, look, you did what you could. We're showing video that you shot because you wanted to make sure that there was proof of what was being done there so you could be helpful. You got out of your car and you did what you could. And that says something about you, and thank you for sharing that part of it. I know this is something that you never wanted to happen and you never wanted to witness. Now, Christian, when you came upon it, you weren't seeing it in real time. What did you think you were seeing?
Well, I wasn't too sure what was happening. I was heading northbound, and it appears I approached the scene just minutes after everything. I passed a gentleman who was unconscious at the side of the road. He had no shoes on. There was a bunch of car debris, but no car. So I thought maybe it was a hit and run. There were people around him just completely confused. I continued north, and probably about 10, 20 seconds later, there's another gentleman on the other side of the road. So that's a good 60, 70 feet. And there was a police officer leaning over, embracing his neck, talking to him. He was moving, so I could tell he was alive. And I thought, there's a lot of bad accidents in just such a short space of time. or short area. And then about 10 seconds later, I happened upon a lady, and she was face down on the sidewalk, you know, and surely deceased at that point. And it started slowly, just started quickly coming together. It was surreal. And then probably about 10 seconds after that's when I got to Yonge and Finch, and there were probably about 20, 30 people standing around, 4 or 5 people on the sidewalk, a number of pedestrians frantically performing CPR on some of those people. There's a lot of blood and just mass confusion. It was very tragic.
And I know, Christian, you were saying that in that moment when you were realizing what it was, you were thinking about your kids and that you were hoping they were safe at school.
Yeah, that was the first thing that came to mind. You know, I checked the time. My mind went straight to them. You know, at first I wasn't too sure what was happening. I thought maybe there's an incident that happened on a bus or something like that, because there's a bus parked there. But yeah, it's moments like these that make you think about your family, and every day when you step out the door, what's going to happen.
And look, you know, the job is to get the facts and get perspective from people who were there. But, you know, Diego, I've been around a lot of these, and you saw some rough things, and you did some very extraordinary things in that moment.